When I first started seriously getting into video, one of the processes that I instantly fell in love with was the color grading process. It's well known that in the past couple of years, film has made a massive resurgence in the photography realm. What's perhaps lesser well known is that there are many filmmakers out there who still choose to use physical film stock over digital for their feature-length films. I've fallen in love with the color and visual characteristics of certain films over the past couple of years, only to discover that it was in part due to the fact that those movies were physically shot on film. A few months back, I uploaded a tutorial about my color grading process within Final Cut Pro using adjustment layers, LUTs, and film grain overlays. A lot of this process is in an effort to replicate the visual style of some of my favorite films and to get that cinematic filmic look. And while I have honed my process to a point where I can work relatively quickly, it's still the most time-consuming part of my edit. I love it, but I don't love it that much. So in pursuit of finding a faster way to achieve this, I did some Googling and I discovered a plugin aptly named Dehancer that simplifies the coloring process to dial in this exact look. Through using a variety of tools and a few simple clicks, you can go from this to this in a matter of minutes. As luck would have it, Dehancer was awesome enough to send me a free license to try out the plugin, and though I've had limited time to properly put it through its paces, I did want to quickly go over a few key features, share some pros and cons, and give my honest experience using this relatively new but powerful tool. Dehancer provides dozens of camera input conversion profiles to act as an excellent starting point for your footage. Once you have your camera selected, there are 63 photographic and motion picture film stocks, offering a wide selection when it comes to finding the exact look you're looking for. Rather than placing a LUT over your footage, Dehancer utilizes over 3 decades worth of film and darkroom experience to truly capture the behaviors of these film stocks and how they can affect the look of your digital files. Of those 63 film looks, it includes the full range of Kodak Vision 3 negative movie films, which is what's currently in use in the motion picture industry today, as well as dozens of other popular film stocks from Fujicolor, Cinestill, Polaroid, and more to really dial in what you're after. I found it fun to try out each one on my footage, and while some are a little heavy-handed and some are quite more subtle, each one allows you to tweak just how strong of a look you want for whatever particular flavor you're after. A key component to the visual style of real film is undeniably film grain. As film photographers and fans of this aesthetic, nailing this is so important when it comes to recreating this look. In the past, I would finish my color grade and then I would use something like a stock film grain overlay to add this effect after. Yes, it's real grain, and while that can work, it's never truly convincing because, in Dehancer's own words, no matter how real it is in its origin, this type of grain isn't related to the image, doesn't represent it, and therefore will always look unnatural and superimposed. That's because film grain doesn't just sit on top of the image. The image consists of this grain. Thankfully, the wizards at Dehancer have acknowledged this, and they've added tools that allow you to adjust the characteristics and properties of film grain to properly simulate the way real grain behaves. You can adjust the size, amount, resolution, and even adjust how it's distributed amongst the shadows, midtones, and highlights. This is something that's simply not possible with film grain overlays, and in my opinion, is a far superior method. Now, if all Dehancer did was add film stocks and grain, they'd be doing a disservice to the other characteristics that make film look the way it does. But the plugin goes several steps beyond just film grain, including adjustable parameters for other components that are pivotal to complete the look, most notably Halation and Bloom. Another component of film that's widely recognized is halation. Halation is a naturally occurring effect in film that occurs when the bright areas of an image appear to bleed around the edges of dark areas, resulting in a soft red halo. Dehancer gives you the option to simulate this effect, as well as the option to control how much halation is present in your footage and how strong it is. I added it to this clip, and while I wouldn't normally add this much, I cranked it up so you could see what it looks like with this effect on and off. Now, halation typically goes hand in hand with another effect called bloom. Bloom is a diffused glow that appears around strong light sources, bright areas of the image, and along high contrast edges. It is possible to achieve a similar effect using black Promise filters, glimmer glass, Moment's Cinebloom filter, all of which are popular choices amongst videographers, filmmakers, and just video people like myself. In this clip, I used a 10% Cinebloom filter, but having the option to add bloom and adjust its strength only further enhanced the look I was after when I filmed it, which can be quite pleasing when you get it just right. Dehancer also offers a few other tools in addition to the ones I've already mentioned, like vignetting, film breath, and gate weave. Film breath simulates the changes in exposure, color, and contrast as the film moves frame by frame, something more commonly found in Super 8 films, while gate weave simulates the mechanical swinging of a film strip as it moves through a projector. Truth be told, I don't see myself using the latter two very much, as I think that those effects lend themselves to footage that you might want heavily stylized. However, if that's the look you're going for, then they are awesome tools that can add that extra film flair, if you so desire. So the folks at Dehancer specifically requested my honest feedback and imposed no criteria or requirements as far as what I should talk about, how I should talk about it, and how I should feel about it. With that said, it must be stated that this plugin can be quite intensive on your machine and is very demanding of resources due to the complex algorithms and the computational processing happening behind the scenes to make some of these effects work the way they do.
Can you give me some choices? Because I really don't want to mess up on this list.
Damn it, Kevin, come on.
What about if I tell you the things I don't want?
Okay, get off, get off. God. Oh, God.
I didn't even get to tell you what I want.
Particularly from what the website claims are the heavier effects: film grain, halation, and bloom. Now the website does list some recommended specs to get the best experience. I'm using an M1 Max Studio with 32 gigabytes of RAM, and I did have to use proxy files while editing. I was also not able to smoothly play back any of the footage with those effects applied to it until after I rendered them, which can truthfully add a lot more time to the edit than I prefer. And because color grading is already the most time-consuming part of my process, this didn't really improve my workflow from an efficiency standpoint. But if I'm working on smaller projects or I need something that'll quickly get me in the right direction for a desired look, these minor setbacks are something that I'm willing to compromise on for such a powerful tool. Now maybe you've scoped out the website and you've determined that maybe you don't have a machine powerful to run this plugin. There is hope. Dehancer has released a photo and video editing app on the iOS App Store, available for both iPad and iPhone. Just like the plugin, it is not simply slapping a filter over your photos and videos and calling it a day. It features the same film stocks and effects like film grain, film breath, gate weave, and more, all created using the same research and tech that powers the desktop version. I spent some time editing a few photos and videos, and after seeing the results, I think the app is an excellent option for someone who wants to quickly edit on the go and achieve great results in the process. Ultimately, I think Dehancer is an insanely powerful tool that acts as a one-stop shop for getting incredible color results out of your footage, in addition to the classic looks that only true film stock can provide. And if you own it, there is truthfully very little reason to look elsewhere for any other software or plugin to assist in this pursuit. Just make sure you have a machine powerful enough to run it. If you would like to try out Dehancer for yourself and give it a test run, click the link in the description below, and if you decide that you want to buy it, use the code CHRISRAY for 10% off your purchase. Thanks so much again to Dehancer for allowing me to try out this awesome plugin. That's me for this one, friends. If you found something of value, you laughed, or you were simply entertained, give this video a thumbs up. It helps other people discover the video and this amazing plugin. And if you're looking for ways to support the channel, the best way to do that, if you haven't already, is to hit the subscribe button. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. And maybe even the bell, if you're feeling frisky. I do have some gear reviews in the pipeline for the next couple of videos. So no short films at the moment, but it is in the works. So until the next one, go out there, be kind to one another, and go make something. Peace. Now, rather than placing a LUT over your footage, Dehancer... This is so much information. Goodness gracious. Dehancer utilizes over 3 decades worth of film and darkroom experience to truly count. Rather than placing a LUT over your footage, Dehancer utilizes over 3 decades. Ugh, damn it. Rather than placing a LUT over your footage, Dehancer utilizes over 3 decades worth of film and darkroom experience to fully utilize. Rather than placing a LUT over your footage, Dehancer utilizes over 3 decades worth of film and darkroom experience to truly capture the behaviors of these film stocks. And maybe that was it. About time. Goodness gracious. That was a mouthful. We're gonna do one more for good measure.